Right now at noon, a fraud investigation leads to the arrest of a travel agent in Miami, Oklahoma.
And we still have thunderstorms moving into the area slowly but surely. We'll take a look at that forecast coming up.
And floating companies are raising awareness about high water levels on Elk River. We'll have what you need to know for your next floating trip.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Emergency personnel respond to a fatal crash involving a trash truck yesterday afternoon in southeast Kansas. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Elise Noe. The crash occurred around 4:30 on private property between Galena and Riverton. According to the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office, 63-year-old Tyrone Palmer of Riverton was loading trash into a trash truck when the truck went into gear and ran him over. Palmer was pronounced dead at the scene, and next of kin have been notified. Authorities arrest a travel agent in Miami, Oklahoma after a fraud investigation. Diane Whifford has been recently scrutinized for alleged fraudulent activity. She's now behind bars, but for bad checks written in Taney County, Missouri in 2016. Whifford, who also goes by the last name Cott, was booked into the Ottawa County Jail yesterday after a traffic stop. She's being held with no bond. Whifford allegedly wrote more than $10,000 in checks that the prosecutor filed charges on nearly 8 years ago. Now, in Miami police investigation, authorities believe Whifford's company, Whifford Tour and Travel, has taken payment from clients totaling tens of thousands of dollars. Authorities say the bookings aren't there when people show up because they never existed in the first place. Alexa Gilman of Webb City says she's out about $5,200 on a trip she's planning to take this summer.
It was on Facebook, a little ad that came through on my feed, and it caught my attention because the tickets to Disney were so cheap, and I've been like multiple times, so I knew this price was actually too good to be true.
On a gut feeling last week, she called to check on her Disney tickets and booked Airbnb she had already paid for through the travel agency. The Disney tickets didn't exist and the Airbnb was reserved under a woman's name, Diane Whifford. Gilman couldn't get information since the booking was not in her name. We have more on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Now here's Chris Warner for a look at the forecast.
Yeah, we're taking a look at Skywatch Storm Trackers. We talked about all the lightning with these storms. It kind of died out for a bit, but it is picking back up. So just measuring, look at all of those lightning strikes with this activity south of Wichita, stretching just to the west of Ponca City. 144 lightning strikes just in that zone alone. So here's what we're running into, and here's why these storms have slowed down a bit. The low pressure system that's bringing us additional storm chances is beginning to interact with this group here. So the low pressure is pushing these thunderstorms out of central Oklahoma up to the northeast, and then it's running into this line, which is why it's slowed down a bit, but eventually the two will meet and they will continue to track easterly across the area as we head into the afternoon and evening. They just may be a little bit later. Quick look outside, cloudy skies in Joplin as the clouds continue to increase. Still some sunlight out there though. Started yesterday right where we should be and only 2 degrees above normal, so not bad. It could be worse out there. Could be a lot hotter. Temperatures right now upper 70s and into the low 80s. So again, we're going to have those isolated thunderstorms, scattered thunderstorms working in from the west to the east, and then we'll continue with shower and thunderstorm chances as we head into the overnight hours, back down to about 69 by midnight. We're going to full look at your forecast and break down our thunderstorm chances over the next couple of days here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, water levels have receded to the point where floating companies are putting people back on the Elk River, but companies continue emphasizing caution. Water levels are still 2 feet higher than before the Memorial Weekend storms. KOAM's Anthony Saviello spoke with businesses and people on the water.
Here on the Elk River, water levels have been receding to the point where floating businesses are letting people back out on the water. But you can see behind me, the river is flowing fast, and these rapids are a testament to how fast it's actually going. And it's still a concern for many kayakers and canoers. And businesses are warning that you need to stay safe while you're out on the river.
Definitely say have a good time, but definitely wear your life jackets. Wear your life jackets. And if you are not a good swimmer, definitely don't go floating when we're in flood stage levels. And definitely just look ahead. See what's in front of you. You know, there could be a log or anything that you do need to kind of steer around. So just look ahead and wear your life jacket.
Catherine Reeser, with 2 sons floating in campgrounds, says their company took a hit with the recent flooding, but waters are now low enough to put people back on the Elk. Now, not only is floating back up and running, but the campgrounds are now open as well too. Less than a week ago, this area was completely flooded and covered in water.
Safety is number one with us, and when the water starts rising like that, it's not safe to put on boats. So yeah, definitely take into account floodwaters when you go put your boats in.
Rietta Sadler, a Nixon native, made sure to do proper research before floating the Elk River.
Well, to start with, I've been tracking the river for a few days now. I have apps on my phone that track water levels, and I also have a bunch of Facebook groups that chatter on water levels and safety and stuff like that. So I did a lot of research.
Here at 2 Sons, they're going to give you all the necessary equipment you need to enjoy your day out in the river. Most importantly, a life jacket in case of emergencies. But you'll have your paddle and your kayak to enjoy and have fun. But it's also important to stay mindful and be aware of everything as you float so you can know what to do in case of emergency. Reporting in McDonald County, Missouri, Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
Research says if you're looking for a less crowded time to float, that weekdays are the best time to get out on the water. Before you get on the river, you can learn information about water levels on our website. Of course, that's KOAMnewsnow.com. Mowing season is underway, and that means MoDOT mowers are hitting the highways. So be sure to be on the lookout when you're on the road. The mowers move slowly, about 2 to 5 miles per hour, but they usually have a follow truck with them to alert you of the mower ahead. MoDOT is asking drivers to slow down, be prepared to stop and wait, and to focus on the road.
Most of the time our mowers will be off on the shoulder mowing, but when they do come to a bridge or an overpass, they do have to come out into the roadway to go around that. When we are in that situation, we will have a protective vehicle like this one with a TMA or crash cushion on the back of that. Just be alert, make sure that you're looking out for our folks. They're very visible, a lot of lighting.
You can report any grass or weeds blocking visibility at intersections along state roads by calling MoDOT's 24/7 customer service line, 888-ASK-MoDOT, or you can report it on MoDOT's website. Attendance numbers during Memorial Day weekend broke records for Pittsburgh's Aquatic Center. The pool manager says pool staff are hyper vigilant for water safety as well as skin protection. The Aquatic Center will provide sunscreen to people who need it, and they want visitors to have fun cooling off while also staying mindful of their health.
Burns your skin and it can make you have sunburns, so make sure you guys always bring sunscreen.
Sunscreen is good because you don't get burnt on your skin. That's why you need sunscreen.
Because you get blisters and you turn really red and no. Yeah.
The Pittsburgh Aquatic Center is open daily from 1 to 7 p.m. Well, coming up, day 2 of jury deliberations in the so-called hush money trial of former President Trump. And later, we're making blue ribbon brownies in the Mr. Food Test kitchen. Jury deliberations are continuing in former President Donald Trump's historic criminal trial in New York. Michael George has the latest from outside the courthouse.
Former President Donald Trump expressed his frustration as he returned to a Manhattan courtroom where a jury is deciding his fate.
Here we go again. We'll be here, it looks like a long time. Thank you.
The jury requested to rehear jury instructions and portions of testimony from David Pecker, the former publisher of the National Enquirer, and Michael Cohen, Trump's one-time fixer. That includes accounts of a meeting the two had with Trump in 2015 to discuss an alleged catch-and-kill scheme to bury scandals ahead of the 2016 presidential election.
Testimony of Michael Cohen and David Pecker, they're key witnesses in the case, and they want to make sure that they got it right.
The presumptive Republican presidential nominee is facing 34 felony counts of falsifying business records. Prosecutors say he tried to conceal a repayment to Cohen for hush money paid to adult film star Stormy Daniels. The former president denies any wrongdoing. The judge in the case, Judge Juan Merchan, is rereading some of his 55 pages of jury instructions because in New York State, the jury isn't allowed to take the instructions into the deliberation room.
It would be hard for anybody to remember elements of 55 pages and then put the facts sort of in there during their deliberations. I wonder if they will ask for yet another, because there are several different complicated elements here that one would hope they would get really specific on.
The jury is comprised of 7 men and 5 women, including 2 lawyers. To find Trump guilty, the jury would have to reach a unanimous decision. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Still to come on KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
How do you like your brownies? Fudgy or cake-like? Either way, we have one that is blue ribbon worthy.
And we're continuing to track thunderstorms rolling into the area this afternoon and continuing into our Friday. We'll have the latest on your forecast when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM News at noon. So those showers and thunderstorms, just getting some showers into our western counties. They've only slowed down about that much as they continue to roll off to the east. And we're actually going to do a quick revised lightning count on this complex out here. So earlier it was 144, so we're only up by 2, up to 146 lightning strikes. So these storms, while they've been a bit on the strong side with some gusty winds, small hail, which we mentioned was a distinct possibility, the other part of these storms is all that lightning. They are very electrical, and as you know, lightning is dangerous and deadly. A storm does not need to be severe. And I want to point out this lightning strike here, so far out ahead of the main complex. Remember as well, as these storms approach, lightning can strike up to 10 miles from the parent thunderstorm, so you've got to play it safe. There's a little bit of a Boeing feature going on with these storms, and that's why there are some significant weather advisories in place, and that is simply meaning that these storms are sub-severe. They're not at severe levels, but they are producing gusty winds and some small hail. And again, that was an expectation heading into the afternoon. Then we got to watch this complex that's down out here southwest of Tulsa, in between there and Oklahoma City, just outside of Chandler and Stillwater. This activity is directly connected to the low pressure system off to the further southwest, and as it's rotating through, because remember, flow around the low pressure is counterclockwise. It's pushing this activity up to the northeast, and it's beginning to run into this activity that's been rolling east out in Kansas. And we've been seeing this activity. There have been little showers and thunderstorms. This is about the 3rd round of little pop-up storms that have tried to get going ahead of the main complex. So we'll see what they do. But the last couple of rounds, they get going just a bit, and then they do begin to fizzle out. So this is what we're talking about. See, this activity is still pushing off to the east, associated with a whole different boundary, and that spin on this low pressure, it almost looks like a hurricane. Earlier with some of the heavier rain, you could see almost what looked like an eye wall around that low, which is now centered almost on top of Oklahoma City, and it's pushing this activity to the northeast. So eventually we're going to get that blend of thunderstorms out here in parts of Oklahoma and southeast Kansas, and they'll continue to roll off to the east. And despite how all of that sounds, we're still not anticipating any significant severe weather. We just don't have the right dynamics for that. But again, some strong storms possible. No major changes from this morning. Still, no areas highlighted for a tornado threat. We do have the low hail and wind risk still confined to our western counties. This really has not changed at all in the last couple of updates. Future track has changed a bit, and in fact, looking at it now, I think it's changed a little bit since I last looked at it about 20 minutes ago. So here's those thunderstorms by 4 continuing to roll off to the east, and here's that complex coming in out of Oklahoma. How that interacts with that other line is going to be key as to exactly what fills in out here with those thunderstorms as they roll off to the east through the evening and overnight hours. Now, if that low picks up speed, it could reduce our thunderstorm chances on Friday a little, but not by much. You can still see, especially east of Parsons, we still get quite a few showers and storms through a good portion of the day on Friday. So we just got to see what this low does, if it picks up speed or if it slows down. That's going to play a big role in exactly how much rain, how many thunderstorms, and how long it lasts as we head into the overnight hours and Friday. Still looking at highs, though, into the low 80s. We're still already warming up out there. And with all the cloud cover and rain tomorrow, we're going to go low mid 70s for our Friday. We could again still see a lingering shower or storm very early Saturday morning. Then we'll be mostly cloudy and still warm. More storms Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and still keeping an eye on Monday for the possibility of some strong to low-grade severe thunderstorms. And it really heats up next week. We're talking near 90 degrees.
Whew.
So you're going to get warm after these storms.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, thanks, Chris. We'll stick around. We're making blue ribbon brownies in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. We'll be right back. Albert is showing us how to make blue ribbon brownies in the Mr. Food Test kitchen.
When it comes to brownies, most people fall into one of two categories. They either want them cake-like or rich and fudgy. But what if I told you we came up with a brownie that has the best of both, plus it has the added benefit of crispy, crunchy edges, which takes them over the top. We start by melting some butter in a saucepan over medium heat. To that, we stir in some sugar, and once it dissolves, we take it off the heat and let it cool. We want it to cool slightly, so when we add our eggs, they won't cook in the hot mixture. A splash of vanilla goes in before we add our dry ingredients. You know, flour, cocoa powder, and a bit of salt. Once it's smooth, we stir in some chopped pecans and into a baking dish it goes. We'll pop this into the oven, and in about a half an hour, it's done. It probably won't be easy for you to wait until this cools, but once it does, it'll be worth the wait. And like I promised, it'll satisfy the most finicky, fudgy, or cake-like brownie lover. Maybe top it with some ice cream and dig in. The recipe for our blue ribbon brownies is online now, and it's one that you shouldn't pass up. Once you sink your teeth into these, you'll know why they're blue ribbon worthy. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a fudgy cake-like way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
You can, of course, find this recipe on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Now, here's a look at the 4-state market prices.
All right, still watching thunderstorms coming in through the rest of this afternoon into the evening and overnight hours. Scattered storms throughout the day on Friday, and then more storms Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Again, watching that possibility, strong, potentially severe storms on Monday. Outside of that, next week, it's going to feel like June. Temperatures each day in the upper 80s, pushing close to 90.
Whoa,
yeah,
close to sweltering out there. Steamy.
Yes, Downey uppers tonight.
Lots coming up at 5. For starters, around 90,000 people a year are diagnosed with a primary brain tumor, according to the American Brain Tumor Association. In recognition of Brain Tumor Awareness Month, we're going to learn about one woman's survival story and the symptoms you can look for. Plus, the Miami Public Library is introducing Ottawa County students to area businesses and organizations to help them prepare for their future. And 2 Neosho McDonald's owners receive a special surprise after dedicating decades of service in the fast food industry. Hope you'll join us for those stories. A lot more, of course. It's all coming up today. KOAM News at 5.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dow. And that's the news for now. Thank you for joining us on KOAM News at noon. Have a great rest of your day.